Hey everybody, Mike McWilliams, upstairs to the right music channel. On the last live stream that I did, there was a question regarding instrument cables and speaker cables and the connections that I make in general and how I use those cables and how you should be using those cables. So I thought that for this week's show that we would talk about exactly that subject. Now here I have a standard instrument cable. This is the type of cable that you would use to go from your guitar into an amp or into a pedal, and then a pedal from this end into your amp. These are very thin wired cables, and they're also heavily shielded. Now why is that? Well, the frequency signal, when it goes from your guitar to a pedal or the pedal to the amp, or you guys got the chain there, you can get a lot of signal noise coming from fluorescent lights, cell phone towers, or guys with cell phone in his pocket standing next to you. A lot of ground hum that you can get from just the wiring in the studio. You really want to have a shielded cable when you're making that connection. Very important, because there's a lot of noise that can come in and cause a lot of problems. That's why you want to spend the most money that you possibly can on your cables. You want to buy the best quality ones you can, your instrument cables, in order to keep that noise down, especially in a recording studio. You really, or if you're running a serious studio and you're really doing serious recording, you're going to find that you're going to spend some money on your instrument cables. So again, that's the signal path that you should be using instrument cables for. Now, this is speaker cable. And just off looking at them, you can see that this is a much thicker cable than this one. And the reason why is because the wiring in here is a lot heavier. And also, interesting enough, this is not shielded. The signal path going from your Laney, in my case, to an attenuator like this, there's not going to be a lot of signal noise there, so you really don't need the shielding. However, you do need the heavier wire in order to handle that kind of signal that's going through. What would happen if I used instrument cable instead? Well, the first thing that would happen is that this would catch on fire, especially when you started cranking your amp, or the next thing that would happen is you would blow your power amp. Either way, not something you want to do. No, you need to use speaker cable in order to make that connection. The obverse is also true. If I were to use speaker cable from my guitar into my Laney, yeah, it really would sound terrible. You'd have a lot of noise, and it's just not the way to go. So you can't interchange these cables. They both have their specific uses in the studio. Again, I would connect the Laney to something like this, an attenuator, which is used to reduce the sound of your amp so that you can play at home at bedroom levels, or something like this, two notes, going from your power amp into your two notes. That's when you would use speaker cable, not instrument cable. When you're connecting your amp head, in this case this is my little Joyo amp head, 20 watts, still powerful, you would run the speaker cable into your 1x12, 2x12, whatever cabinet. Or alternatively, you would run from that into the two notes. Again, all of these being able to handle load. These are load boxes. They're all able to handle loads. The two notes and the power attenuator are able to handle the load from whatever amp you put into it, as long as you use, that's right, speaker cable. I knew you guys were paying attention. All right. Again, with the same with instrument cable, you want to spend some money on this. This is not cheap. This cable is about $80 US. And this is a 1.5 meter cable. You want to get short cables, those connections between your instruments and your equipment. Try to keep them as short as possible. Keep that signal chain as short as possible, my personal opinion. But they are costly and you want to spend the money on it. Now, I've never worn through speaker cables, so the investment is a good one. It's a long-term investment. I burned through many. As a matter of fact, I just threw out 3 instrument cables that were just going bad on me. These will go bad on you. Again, another reason, but it'll take years. Those ones that I threw away, I had those for a decade. And they finally started going bad on me. So a good investment to make, a little costly, I agree, but in the long run, if you aggregate that money, you'll find out that you're actually getting a deal if you get the best one that you can. All right, that's my thoughts on the difference between instrument cables and speaker cables and how you should be using them. You can interchange them, remember that. That's your key takeaway today, if anything. If you liked what you saw on today's program and you haven't subscribed yet, why don't you take the time to do so? We would love to have you join the community that we're building here. We've got a great community here. We will be doing live streams every Sunday night at 11 p.m. Central European time. So you can figure out from where you're at where that lands you in the morning, afternoon, or evening. Also would love to have you join that as well. Until the next one, guys, you take care. Bye-bye.